Paul, and I'm back. And thanks for all the kind words that have been coming in on the news of the passing of my mother-in-law, Lana's mother, Eunice. And it's been as you might imagine, kind of a crazy couple of days. Sunday afternoon, Eunice suffered a massive stroke and passed away from that on Tuesday afternoon at Covenant over in Lubbock. And Eunice was 94. She was 94 years old. She would have been 95 on Halloween Day. So we're about 6 weeks away from her 95th birthday. And so at that age, that's always something you think about. That is always a possibility. For her age, Eunice was in decent health. She lived independently in her own apartment out at Canyon Stone Apartments, and she took care of things and baked and cooked and we're thinking about this, made it through the pandemic. And one of the things that we talked about a little bit when we were there in Lubbock, we were so fortunate that this happened after the COVID pandemic. With so many stories of how families were impacted by the COVID restrictions. Now, the whole time I was at Covenant, they had the signs on the door. This is in Texas, of course, in Lubbock. Signs on the doors, you got to wear masks. Most people were wearing masks. We had our masks. But it also seemed like it wasn't you've got to get you've got to wear the mask. You've got to wear the mask. We're not going to even talk to you if you don't have your mask on. There was none of that kind of pressure. It was if you feel comfortable wearing a mask, wear a mask. If I feel comfortable wearing a mask, I'm going to wear a mask. There was only one time I had left the room and had gone downstairs, kind of off the lobby area there, near one of the elevator bays, and I was just sitting in a chair and I was talking to Mike Winters, and we were just talking about stuff that was going on this week and making sure everything was lined up and in order, which everybody's great. I wasn't worried at all about any of that. We were just having a conversation. So I had the mask down on my chin, and we're having the conversation. I'm sitting there. There's nobody within 20 feet of me. I mean, this big building, big area. And a nice lady is walking by. She's got a cart of some kind, and she's walking over towards the elevator. She's got the badge on, so she obviously worked for the hospital. And like I said, everybody was very, very nice. And she, I said hi. She waved at me. And then she stops and she says, "Now you're supposed to have your mask over your face when you're in the lobby." And I thought, really? So, and you're going to get that wherever you go. But it was a reminder that we still are in the pandemic. And one of the things that we talked about for a little bit was in a way, fortunate that this happened after the pandemic, when you could be in the room, you could spend time. Lana spent most of the time that we were there with Eunice in the hospital room. And we were very thankful that we were able to do that. I can't tell you how many stories we heard during the height of the pandemic about family members who were in a hospital bed suffering possibly end-of-life situations, that family members were not allowed to be with their loved ones. And I could only imagine, given that we were fortunate to be able to be with Eunice, Lana was able to be there. We were able to be there. I could not imagine going through that situation and not being there. And it made me mad. It made me angry at how our country's being run right now, and some of the people that are in a role of leadership. We didn't dwell on it. We didn't spend a lot of time with it. It was just something that you think about when you're in that situation. And I feel so badly for folks that had to endure that. I remember the I remember when they passed the rules that said, okay, now you can go to nursing homes, but you got to have these plastic bubbles or plexiglass sheets, and people looking through windows, and it makes me mad to think that we forced people to handle things that way. And I'm very fortunate that we did not have to have that experience with this situation. So it's just something to think about. I just timing is in many cases is interesting. And in this particular case, the COVID restrictions were not such that we were able to be there in the ICU, and we were able to be there. Now, there's still restrictions. I mean, and you can't have a free-for-all, especially in ICU or something like that. But, that we didn't have to deal with that, because I thought about that briefly while we were there in the hospital this past week. So anyway, we're gonna miss Eunice and the cooking and the baking and the cookies and the angel food cake and the deviled eggs and all the other things that Eunice just, the Jell-O. I told Lana, I said, we're gonna have to use our kitchen now, because most of the time, when it was lunchtime, Lana and I would go back to the break room here at the radio station, and we'd eat something that Eunice had prepared for us. And that was what she loved to do every day, was cook and make things. She didn't eat a whole lot of it, hardly any of it that she made. She ate, but and then she'd make something, a big old pan of spaghetti, or she'd have a big old thing of brownies, or I think Jeffrey mentioned the brownies or whatever, and then she'd say, well, take it down to the radio station, so the people at the radio station. We had to remind her, since COVID, there's not a whole lot of people here at the radio station. It's me and Tana and Lana and Jamie and Jeffrey. That's about it in the building here. We just kind of wander around, And so it's not like we have an office full of people that would enjoy this stuff. But she just loved doing that, loved making food and eat. That was important to her, that people had, there's always a pot of coffee, and when I came over with Lana to visit, first thing she'd do, she'd get the coffee pot out, make me coffee. Even if I had gotten coffee someplace else, she had to make coffee. And then she'd say, well, I don't know if it's strong enough or not. And of course, it never was, but that didn't matter, So, thank you again for all the thoughts, and we'll have the funeral announcement. We'll be out here very soon, and we'll go from there. So, but thank you so much for your kind thoughts and your kind words as we remember Eunice, Lana's mom, who passed away on Tuesday at 94. Well,